Hey guys, I'm working on the espresso machine again. This is the Bezzera Aria, and I took off the top here so you can kind of see what's going on. So here's the boiler, and there's a small leak that you can hear a hissing sound coming from the bottom nut where it's tightened up against the head of the boiler. So you can see a little bit of what looks like just steam coming out and kind of building up over time, causing this discoloration. So what I'm going to do is take off this top nut first. I'll loosen that, turning it counterclockwise, and then we'll do the same with this bottom nut underneath, loosening it, turning it counterclockwise. And once I get it off, we'll take a look at what we see, and then we'll come back. So I'm just going to use a crescent wrench that I have to take the nuts off, and we'll clean it up and see if we can get this small leak fixed. So, all right. So I got this nut off here. After just a small turn that loosened it, it just unscrews pretty easily and slides off. So this bolt was just locking this piping onto the input here. So it's loose, but it's still locked in pretty tight. We need to be able to slide this pipe off to the side so we can unscrew this bolt. So to do that, we're going to also loosen this bolt right here in the same way, counterclockwise. There may be some residual water in this piping here, so just put some paper towels around underneath it in case any drops come out. I don't want it to hit any of the electrical components. So we'll loosen this bolt so that we can slide this piping offset a little to get to this bolt here. All right, so we got this piping off here. As we saw earlier, loosened the bolt and it just pops right off. So just set that aside. Remember which end goes to which component in here, of course. We loosened this bolt up and it just comes right out like that. So we can see there's a little bit of scale build up. We have a lot of iron in our water, so you can see the kind of the red discoloration there. So what we're going to do is just take a toothbrush to the threads on the inside, clean up the threads, clean up the surface here. We'll do the same for these other bolts as well. So you can see there's just a little build up. Just take a heavy toothbrush and we'll kind of polish those guys up a little bit so that the fitting is nice and clean before we put it all back together. All right guys, so we scrubbed up our head a little bit here, cleaned the threads up as best we could, cleaned off the surface, cleaned the ends of all the piping, cleaned the threads on this guy, and wrapped the bottom threads here with a little bit of plumber's tape, which is going to give us the seal that we need from the water. You can see here, I think this was from probably the plumber's tape that was on there previously, as just kind of dried up, and you can see what was left of it came off the threads when I pulled it out. So we've put on some fresh plumber's tape, and this should help give us a really good seal, which will stop our leak. So let's get this put back together. All right guys, so we got it put back together. Clean bolts, clean connection. You can see we have retightened both nuts here. You can see a little bit of the plumber's tape squeezing out from the threads there. So we've got a nice, good seal. I didn't overly crank these too hard. It's copper, it's a softer metal, so at least for the piping here, these connections are probably brass or something, but yeah, just cranked it until it was snug. I could have kept going, but you know, I just felt like it was at the right pressure and tension for that connection. Same with the other end of the pipe. So we've got the machine on, it's heating, and we're going to see if we have a good seal or if maybe need to tighten it a little more. We'll see. All right, thanks for watching. All right, the valve's closed and we're starting to build pressure here very quickly up to about 1 bar. So we're just going to be listening right now to see if there's any leakage coming from this. So we're at full temp now, full pressure, and there was a little bit of hissing at first. I think probably just as the plumber's tape maybe was filling the spaces, but it's sealed up. No more hissing, and I'm watching these connections to make sure they were tightened enough. I wasn't sure exactly how tight to go, so I'm gonna leave the paper towels there for now in case there's any leak here. So I'll just watch this over the next day or 2 or 3 just to see if we see any slow leak of any sort. If so, probably just go back in and tighten this bottom nut here, and then tighten these top ones again just a tad on these 2 pipe ends, but we'll wait and see. But for now, seems like things are sounding good. The leak is not leaking, so that was a pretty simple fix. So all right, thanks guys.